On September 23rd, Donald Trump gave an address to the United Nations. It was a rare address, believe me.
UN globalist staffers were basically plotting to set up the President of the United States.
No one has ever been that blunt, that explicit, and that critical of the UN. It was scheduled to be 15 minutes, but on the other hand, if the UN membership was shocked at the candor of Donald Trump had ample reasons to be candid, because before he even gave the speech, he and First Lady Melania Trump and their entourage were, just the minute they got on the escalator, it mysteriously shut down. And by the way, the London Times had run a story saying that some members wanted to shut it down in protest of Trump's cutting back on UN support. That was an odd thing to happen.
And first it was the escalator.
It was Donald Trump's entrance to the United Nations.
What is the message? What is the message?
That led off his laundry list of grievances.
Then it was the teleprompter.
These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
But Trump didn't need a script to share how he really felt.
And I don't mind making the speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working.
The teleprompter suddenly went out. The escalator by this time was mysteriously back in service, and the teleprompter would be too.
I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
And then three, unbeknownst to Donald Trump, people, reporters, and even First Lady Melania Trump said you couldn't hear Trump. All of a sudden, mysteriously, his sound was, what do you want to call it, de-amplified?
And then Katie Pavlich from Town Hall, who we offered a seat in the press pool to cover the president's historic speech today, noticed that the audio inside of the room was much lower and different for the president of the United States than the previous speakers. And if we find that these were UN staffers who were purposefully trying to literally trip up the president and the first lady of the United States, well, there better be accountability for those people. And I will personally see to it, Jesse.
Good. And then fourth, for a minute, the translation did not come into English to the membership, but to Portuguese.
Four strange things happened on September 23rd, the day Donald Trump addressed the United Nations.
All four of those circumstances were almost impossible to occur in one session. So what am I getting at?
Coincidence or something more? So the bigger question becomes, did UN staff, employees, administrators, maybe even higher-ups, deliberately try to sabotage an American president on American soil?
This is very serious. It means that the United Nations has employees, or perhaps administrators, who deliberately tried to sabotage an American president while on American soil. So Donald Trump, as he was experiencing the breakdown in the teleprompter and had just gone through the escalator shock, decided to lengthen his speech from 15 minutes to about 55, and he had some blockbuster things to say.
We are rapidly reversing the economic calamity we inherited from the previous administration, including ruinous price increases and record-setting inflation like we've never had before.
First of all, the UN did not like it. They sat in stony silence. Why? First of all, he said the UN had been of no real importance when he was trying to negotiate peace, or at least a ceasefire, with the Congo and Rwanda, with Serbia and Bosnia, with Russia, of course, and Ukraine, Pakistan and India. I could go on, but he had 7 separate conflicts that he at least got a temporary ceasefire. There was no UN praise, there was no UN input.
In May, I traveled to the Middle East to visit my friends and rebuild our partnerships in the Gulf and those valued relationships with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them.
The subtext, what he was saying, is that most of their declarations of condemnation are against tiny Israel. In fact, Benjamin Netanyahu would follow his appearance at the UN, and at least a lot of the contingents just simply walked out. Now, they didn't do that for the Palestinians, of course. Israel is a democratic country, and they walk out when the prime minister speaks. But they don't walk out when Xi speaks. He's got over 1 million people in a Uyghur labor camp. They don't walk out when Mr. Erdogan speaks. He's occupied, Turkey has occupied for a half century illegally northern Cyprus. And they don't, of course, walk out when a Russian diplomat speaks. It's only selective because Israel is tiny, it's Western, and let's speak frank, it's Jewish. But Donald Trump, he knows all that in advance, and he has no respect for the UN. The other subtext that got the UN people very angry was that he talked about Europe, not Africa, not Asia, not Latin America, and they felt excluded. But it was a very passive-aggressive. He said to Europe, I love Europe. I want you to fulfill essentially your shared Western heritage with us, but you're not doing it. And you're not doing it for 3 or 4 things. Number one, you've embarked on a suicidal energy policy.
Energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work.
That subsidizes inefficient and unsustainable green energy, solar and wind specifically. And you've given up oil and gas, natural gas and clean coal and nuclear, and you've lost your competitive edge and your consumers are hurting. Number 2, you let in millions of illegal immigrants, and not just any illegal immigrants, mostly from the war-torn Middle East who were Islamic and had no desire to adapt to, integrate with, or assimilate with Western civilization's customs, cultural norms.
It's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice. You want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage. They must take control strongly and immediately of the unmitigated immigration disaster and the fake energy catastrophe before it's too late.
And therefore, you've got a terrible problem with immigration, you've got inefficient energy, and you're disarmed. And I'm lecturing you, Trump said, because I love Europe and I want you to be a full partner. And that offended the rest of the world that didn't get that privilege of having a U.S. president talk directly to them, but it also got the Europeans angry because he was telling them the truth.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor. God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.